Good Friday morning, weather fans and weather enthusiasts and everybody that just likes to geek out a little bit like I do on the weather. We're going to take a deeper dive into some of the top weather stories across the country, some fun video to share with you. My name is Craig Moeller. I'm a meteorologist. I've been working in this field. Started back in May of 1989. I've been at the game for a while, and again, working from 13 News now in Norfolk, Virginia. If you're watching from Hampton Roads, you probably know who I am. I've been around for quite a while, but if you're watching from elsewhere around the country, I want to let you know, again, we've been watching and just monitoring stories all across the country and at times around the world. So when you check out the weather desk, you're going to get a wide variety of weather information. Let's take a look at our topics for today. There is more cold weather for now over the eastern U.S., but it's not going to last much longer. The pattern's starting to change. I'll talk a little bit. We'll focus on the mid-Atlantic region, how things have been so cold over January, but I'll show you what's happening nationally as well. I also have the latest update, just came out yesterday from the U.S. Drought Monitor. We'll talk about what parts of the country are parched and could use some rain, other areas where they're doing just fine. And I've got the latest on the California wildfires. There are still red flag warnings out for Southern California through 10 o'clock this morning, Pacific Standard Time. So we'll talk about that. And there's another concern. It's like a blessing, but may be a bit of a curse as well out there around Southern California. I'll explain what I'm talking about in just a few minutes here. All right, we also have the NFL Conference Championships, the AFC and the NFC. 4 teams battling for those final 2 spots in the Super Bowl. I'll have game day forecasts for both Philadelphia and Kansas City, as well as the weekend outlook across the mid-Atlantic. We'll talk about that. So let's start off with our first topic and this cold weather. We do have a gradual warm-up coming. Super excited about that for the mid-Atlantic and the southeastern U.S. We're going to start off with a look at the temperatures currently. How about Atlanta? Still 32 degrees, 37 in New Orleans, 25 in Dallas, and 28 down in San Antonio. This cold air has really had a grip over the eastern U.S., but there are signs things are starting to change. I will say there's some more cold air up over the north central U.S. 7 degrees right now in Minneapolis, 3 in Chicago. These aren't wind chills. These are actual air temperatures. It has been some kind of cold with the polar vortex dipping so far south. But things are going to start to change over the coming days. In fact, we can show you over the last 24 hours, we are milder here along the East Coast. So much of the eastern U.S. and the southeast starting to warm up from where we were 24 hours ago. Look at New Orleans, 13 degrees warmer. Atlanta up 4 degrees. It is a little cooler right here with this last little plunge of cold air with some clearing skies. But we are going to see a gradual warm up. I'm excited about that. Temperatures also much warmer across the northwest. So patterns starting to show some signs of change. Now, not everybody was upset about the cold weather. We have some fun video we're going to touch on real quick here. Look at this old guy, baby elephant out there. This is from the Houston Zoo. And again, the animals were out enjoying a very rare snowfall for Houston. Some of the animals were enjoying it for the very first time. The zoo was closed to the public during the winter storm, but staff members stayed on the premises to care for the animals. And speaking of animals, how about these guys at the D.C. National Zoo? We have the pandas. Can we see them out there? That's a live look. Wouldn't you know it? All right, it's like the singing frog from the WB. All right, he just came out from around the corner. I was going to say, as soon as we put the cameras, and this is a live look again at the National Zoo, the pandas making their debut. We have seen at times they've been out playing and jumping around. Right now, kind of chill, just hanging out in their new digs. It is so great to have the pandas back at the National Zoo, and they don't seem to be minding the cold at all. Want to take you back to what has happened here throughout the month of January. And I was asked by one of our weather enthusiasts here at the station, came up and said, Craig, how cold has it really been in January, and how does it compare to like the coldest we have on record? Well, I wanted to show you again, the eastern U.S. has really been cold. You take a look at the month here. We've had 3 days, all month so far. We're at the 23rd now, so 20 days below average. Just 3 times have we been above average throughout the month of January. So as you might guess, when you take a look at all of the high temperatures and all of the low temperatures for the month of January, you add them all up and you average them out, and this is where we stand through the 23rd, okay? So far, we've averaged 35.1 degrees. That is 7.2 degrees below average. Now, I thought, okay, that's what's happened for the first 3 weeks and a couple days of January. Before we compare it to the top 10 all-time coldest, let's take a look at the forecast. I got out the calculator, did some more math, and based on our forecast right now, we're projecting with the forecast for the next week that we're going to see an average of about 35.9, which will wind up being 6.4 degrees below average. As I mentioned, it's going to get a little bit warmer than it has been over the coming week. So we'll welcome the thaw, but again, that raises our average temperature to 35.9, and that'll leave us 6.4 below average. Still a very cold January. But how does it compare? Well, you take a look at the top 10 coldest Januaries on record for Norfolk. And you can see back in 1977, we had 29.2. That is the coldest average temperature for January on record. Records that date back into the 1800s. Look at number 8 here. That one goes back to 1881 when we averaged 34.3. So our projected total average, based on the forecast plus what we've already seen, if we come in around 35.9, that's going to be about a degree warmer than the 10th coldest on average. So we were certainly cold, but not even really that close to the top 10. It's been a lot colder here in Norfolk. Still, it has been very cold across the region, but I wanted to compare that to some of our historical numbers. Now, as we take a look at the temperatures at the airport and across the region this morning, you saw it was still very, very cold. Teens inland, 20 at Norfolk at the International Airport, 18 at Oceana and Virginia Beach, 20 in Hampton, 10 up at Melfa. A cold start to the day for sure. But again, not really down there near the record. We were above that. Now, temperatures stay cool the next couple of days. Notice a warming trend as we head through the weekend. This is for Norfolk, Virginia, but much of the East Coast will enjoy this bump here as well. Temperatures warming through the middle part of next week. Another cold push by the end of next week, and then a quick rebound. So it doesn't look like we have any super cold temperatures like the 20s that we had experienced a couple days ago, and then the low 30s yesterday. We do have temperatures warming, and even that next cold push puts us at temperatures comparable to what we'll see tomorrow. So we are definitely trending up. That's encouraging. All right, now when you take a look at the 8 to 14 day outlook, this is across the entire country here. The southern tier is largely expected to be above normal. This area is shaded in gray right in here. That is all pretty close to average. And for Virginia Beach, Norfolk, most of Hampton Roads, we should be close to average. Now, our average currently is 50 for a high. But as we go into that first week of February, it'll start to come up a little bit. We'll be in the low 50s. So that's average. We'll be close to that. The one area below average still, the northwestern U.S. So we'll be watching for those folks as well. That warmer down to the south. And I think about all those folks that travel down south trying to escape the cold. They were dealing with the cold and probably wondering what was going on with snow down here along the Gulf Coast and even into Florida. It has been something else. Speaking of Florida, we've had those dramatic images coming out. We've seen snow plows on bridges down there. It's been pretty crazy, but again, things will be thawing out. Next thing we're going to talk about, the drought situation. Now, I said we had an update from the U.S. Drought Monitor, and I want to talk about this. So here's a national picture. We'll zoom into some different areas and talk about it. The area that's suffering the most with exceptional drought, West Texas. So you can see around El Paso, areas east of El Paso, we've got exceptional drought. Most areas aren't as bad. There are some areas with extreme drought. Let's take a little closer look. First of all, with the East Coast, it's abnormally dry and moderate drought down across Florida. For the Carolinas, moderate drought with some areas in severe drought. The drought worsens as you go north along the northern part of the mid-Atlantic region and up into the northeast. Several areas with severe drought. and some extreme drought into New Jersey and part of Delaware. Back across Tennessee, we also have some areas with the extreme drought, certainly severe to extreme drought. So some places out closer to, say, Knoxville, Tennessee, they're dealing with the very dry conditions. Across Hampton Roads, it's largely been moderate drought for the peninsula, the Middle Peninsula, Southside Hampton Roads, and northeastern North Carolina. Along the Outer Banks, it's been moderate to severe drought down around Nags Head. Up on the eastern shore, Chincoteague, parts of Accomack County under severe drought over to the northern neck and parts of the Middle Peninsula. So that's a look here in the Mid-Atlantic. Across the northern U.S., again, below average temperatures expected over the next, say, 8 to 14 days along the northern tier. I just showed you that with that extended outlook, but they have been dry. And you can see there's extreme drought. Parts of North Dakota into Montana. Look at Wyoming, such amazingly beautiful country out here, but very dry right now. Extreme drought, severe drought across Nebraska and parts of South Dakota. Finally, I want to bring you back to California. We're going to talk about the wildfires here in a moment, but you can see from Vegas back over to Phoenix and then across Southern California from just east of San Diego up through LA. Here we also have extreme drought, and that has been a big concern, those folks dealing with the drought, which brings us to our next topic, the California wildfires. So the wildfires continue to rage across Southern California. Those flames have been fueled by, again, gusty winds and the severe drought conditions. Much of the area remains under a red flag alert. We're going to talk about that and the wildfire danger. Firefighters across the region have been working to contain these flames, and they've made some progress in some areas. The Hughes fire has joined the Palisades and Eaton fires and spreading over 10,000 acres. So they're still having problems in some areas. Rain is on the way to Southern California, and that's going to help firefighters a little bit, but there's additional concerns with the heavy rain. We could be seeing some other issues like toxic ash runoff and mudslides. So I'm going to come back over to the boards and talk to you about the weather pattern and what's going on. First of all, as I put the winds on, you'll notice they're not as bad, and we can check wind alerts. We don't have any. We've had high wind warnings. We've had wind advisories out. Right now, we don't have any, and that is certainly some relief for firefighters and for residents living in these areas. That helps. The red flag warning continues until 10 a.m. this morning. That's Pacific time. So again, on the West Coast through 10 a.m., they've got the red flag warnings continuing, bone dry, but there's a change in the weather pattern coming up, and I wanted to talk to you about that. So this is a look at our futurecast. I've got it zoomed in, LA, San Diego here. We'll be watching because today looks dry, not a big problem. The winds aren't too bad. So hopefully the firefighters will get more of a handle on some of those flames that continue to rage out west. But watch what happens here as we go through the day Saturday, and by Saturday evening, we start to see showers. Now, again, the ground is parched. There's a lot of ash. Again, residents worried about toxic ash, all of this fire and all of this charred earth, the ground, the building materials that have been scorched. When rain comes, it all runs down into the valleys, and you can see the rain is set to come in as we go Saturday night and into Sunday. Some more unsettled weather back across California. The little snow pops you see in there, that's going to be for the highest elevations. But again, good chances for rain across Southern California. So those other concerns, mudslides and the toxic ash runoff, that will be something that we're watching later in the weekend and into early next week. You definitely want to stay tuned to our coverage, and of course the networks will have a lot of coverage on that as well. Want to update you on the Hawaiian VOG. Now, we talked about VOG and that it's volcanic smog. You combine volcanic and smog, you get VOG. That's a term you may not know, but it is very common in Hawaii and around the Big Island where they have the active volcanoes. We want to take a look at the USGS feed right now. Yesterday when we were looking at this is Kilauea, and yesterday when we were looking at this image, there was lava spewing out the right there near that vent, in that particular part of the crater. You could see lava pouring out. It's not as active as it was, but it is still spewing some well, it spews sulfur dioxide, and you can see some of the gases kind of coming out from the volcano. So we're still paying close attention to the wind field here. And today we have winds still kind of blowing in this morning, coming up from the southwest and blowing to the northeast. So the air quality is not as big a concern. Yesterday, they were worried about moderate air quality around Hilo and some of the other areas just off to the northeast. Right now, we're looking at lesser amounts. It's not as active. It's not throwing as much of the pollutant into the sky, so that's good news. But there's still a little bit of that fog coming off the volcano. And later today, I'm going to step back and I'm actually going to manipulate the wind. So let's take this full. As we take a look at our next graphic here, I'm going to show you how the winds are forecast to kind of come around. So let me stop it right there. And you'll notice, again, this is Friday late in the day, 6 o'clock or so. We're going to see the winds coming back around. So some of that kind of fog, if you will be moving back, maybe drifting off to the west of the volcano. So again, air quality, not as big a concern as it has been, but certainly something we'll continue to monitor for you out there in Hawaii. Now to the NFL forecast, and this is something I think a lot of folks are excited about. We've got 4 teams that are getting ready to go, and they're gearing up for it. We've got some video from the practices as these teams are getting ready. You've got a couple teams going. Of course, we've got the game day forecast here. I'll tell you what, the Commanders and the Eagles, they're going in Philly, and then we've got the Chiefs and we've got the Bills, both hungry to get into that big game. You see the guys working out there. That was from Philadelphia, and now you're looking in Kansas City earlier from Arrowhead Stadium. Josh Allen, what an amazing athlete, and Patrick Mahomes, the baby goat, right there, seeing if they can get back there and do it again in Kansas City. So a lot of great stuff. Now to the football forecast. Let's take a look. We're going to start off with the game, and the first one we're going to talk about is between the Eagles and the Commanders. So here's your NFC Championship forecast. You can see kickoff, partly cloudy skies in Philly. This will be at Lincoln Financial Field. Kickoff is at 3 o'clock, 40 degrees. That's what we're looking at, partly cloudy skies at the beginning, maybe variably to mostly cloudy right around 3 o'clock. As the day continues, we're expecting the skies to become partly cloudy, and that fourth quarter will be occurring right after sunset. So we'll see those temperatures dropping down into the mid-30s. Winds look like they're only going to be about 5 to 10 miles per hour, so not a problem there. Looks like good game conditions for the Commanders and for the Eagles. Good luck to both teams and to the fan bases as well. Here in Hampton Roads, a lot of Commanders fans. This is like a home game for a lot of folks. And of course, the Eagles, a huge following in Hampton Roads as well. But some very passionate fan bases. Obviously, the Eagles fans can be a little crazy. There's a reputation in a good way, but they can be crazy. And the Commanders fans, it's been so long since they've had this kind of success. It's exciting to see the Commanders getting their shot, and we'll see what happens there on Sunday. Again, 3 o'clock, that's in Philadelphia. Now, the other game out at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, that starts at 5:30 Central Time, 6:30 on the East Coast. We'll take a look at the conditions for the Chiefs and the Bills. And here you go. You can see as we check out the kickoff, 31. Now, at 5:30, that's right around sunset, so it's quickly going to go dark. It'll be dusk around kickoff, and then as we get to halftime, upper 20s, and fourth quarter, mainly clear and mid-20s. An evening game in Kansas City this time of year, it really doesn't get much better than that. Yes, it's got to be a little chilly, but the winds are forecast to be light, almost calm, only like 2 or maybe 3 miles per hour. So very little problem for the quarterbacks to pass. Very little problem for the kickers and the punters. I think this is going to be a phenomenal game. And again, Kansas City in the dead of winter, a nighttime game. We have seen brutal, brutal conditions. Not this year. This year it looks good. So again, we'll see who emerges from those two games to meet in the Super Bowl. Good luck to all four teams and their fans. Should be a lot of fun. Now in Hampton Roads, we're going to see over the weekend mostly sunny skies. Temperatures are going to warm a little bit. We'll see right around 40 for Norfolk. That's still 10 degrees below average, but inland areas will be in the low 40s. And again, it's warmer than it has been. We're going to trend back up close to average on Sunday, right around 49, mostly sunny. Very nice. Still chilly in the morning, but hang in there. Those afternoon temperatures feeling better and better as we go. I mentioned I wouldn't only have it for the weekend right here in Hampton Roads, but also around the region. D.C., maybe you want to go check out the pandas. You can see temperatures cool up there. Again, around 40 on Saturday, upper 40s Sunday. Richmond should be around 50 on Sunday. And again, getting close to 49. Very similar to Hampton Roads forecast, actually, for Charlottesville, rather, and for the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Just wanted to share those outlooks for those different getaway destinations. Here's a look at the weather along the mid-Atlantic. You can see some clouds on the increase down to the south. Nice looking day, though. Temperatures still chilly, but much warmer than it has been. Just a couple days ago, we were in the 20s. We were in the mid-20s. And again, after a couple of days, and we had 70 hours in Norfolk where we were below freezing. That doesn't happen very often. It's been cold, but temperatures are going to be warming up. You look ahead to Saturday, and during the afternoon, it's going to be a mostly sunny day. Temperatures close to 40 at the coast, low to mid-40s inland and south. And into Sunday, it gets even warmer. We'll look forward to a cool start Sunday, but by Sunday afternoon, upper 40s to near 50. It's going to feel great. Temperatures get even warmer into early next week. So here's the forecast across the south side, upper 30s to low 40s. Plenty of sunshine, a few clouds from time to time. On the eastern shore, mid to upper 30s, we'll find temperatures close to 40 on the peninsula around Gloucester, 36 at Matthews. Down to the south, Outer Banks, chilly. We've had some clouds this morning. Should be variably cloudy to partly cloudy across most of northeast North Carolina. Temperatures in the low to mid 40s. Overnight tonight, 24, so still quite chilly. Skies are going to be partly cloudy. Winds variable coming around to the west, and this is significant because tomorrow those winds will come in from the southwest, probably about 5 to 10, and that's going to start to push those temperatures up. It's a trend that continues over the weekend and into early next week. So some good stuff to look forward to there. Mid-50s. Again, not springtime yet, but we are in the dead of winter, so cool temperatures should be expected. That 20% chance for showers on Monday is really for areas down around the Albemarle Sound and the southern part of the Outer Banks. So we just want to let you know, slight chance down there. Most of the region's going to be dry. If you'd like to find me on social media, you can find me on Facebook. Search Craig Moeller, Instagram at Craig Moeller TV, and on X at 13 Craig Moeller. Love to hear from you. Get your suggestions, your feedback on what you're seeing here from the weather desk. It is so much fun to put these together. I appreciate my production team, and our producers have done a wonderful job helping get some of that video and bringing some of these elements together. We've got plans to expand the weather desk. We're going to be doing more of these and incorporating some of our fellow meteorologists from other TEGNA stations. We've got a bunch of stations, dozens all across the country with some really sharp meteorologists working, and we'll be including them as well. Want to remind you, you can also download the 13 News Now app by scanning that QR code. Right there, you see it on the screen. Stay in touch with our radar updates, our forecast updates, and our news updates from 13 News Now. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Again, we'll look forward to the warm-up. Enjoy the football this weekend, and we'll see you next time for more from the Weather Desk.